more ranked games, and perhaps this is one of it. Although the main difference is that you get 5 bans in a competitive setting, which is so much more lenient. But I'm looking at being on blue side having a bit more advantage. I don't know if you agree with that.
I think in terms of banning, yes, for sure. Especially if when it comes to you understanding your opponent's hero pools and towards comfort picks, right? Your opening 3 bans can be focused on objectifying. It's just shutting down what they're not comfortable with or comfortable with, instead of focusing on meta. But if you're going for just meta bans, I feel like blue side is on a disadvantage rather than red side.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because I always feel like how I see it is if you're on red side, you are pressured to ban out prior picks that blue side would take as first pick. But I do understand that you can't really just blind pick certain heroes, right? That would be a big problem, so there is an argument to that. But we are seeing 2 really common opening bans, no 1-1, no Hayabusa, nothing out of the ordinary for now. But we also get the joy being taken out.
I'm a little surprised with the Hayabusa pickup, considering that there are just so many much more better junglers here. Mortis is just such a staple broken hero to a certain degree, where you can play jungle, you can play XP, you can play tank. Even though we don't see too much on the tank side, there is still XP Mortis in terms of flexibility roles. Because when it comes to drafting here, especially for first opening picks, you want to be as flexible as possible when it comes to your drafts. This is where Fredrin is in a very interesting position. It's not the most broken hero, it's annoying, but because of how versatile it can be contributing into the team fight, it's great. Glue, great bans coming from Miracle Gaming, love it, hate it. Tank, but you can solo kill anybody as a roamer, which is disgusting for early
actually one of the strongest tanks we have.
As of yet.
I mean, some people play it in XP, not the most ideal, but you get the idea, right? It's just so much damage and tankiness. The Valentina getting a ban out next, so the Fredrin is open, right? A very flexible pick, XP jungle. Though I do remember he's more played in the jungle. It's one of the picks that won Echo M4 as well. I'm curious to see if Miracle Gaming would use it as a priority pick.
Yep, as of yet, carry is pretty much up in opening as well. It's pretty safe first pick coming from Miracle Gaming if they decide to go for it, unless they're holding up for potential Beatrix, which is also a very decent amount of marksman. It's not exactly the greatest as of yet, but it contributes a lot in terms of team fight CCs, especially of taking objectives. But Miracle Gaming, they skip the carry, they pick the Fredrin this way. This pretty much opens up for EVO Esports to actually pick up the carry for themselves, which is a great hero to just deal with carry or deal with the Fredrin in general.
Deal with tanks in general, right?
Yeah, all tanks just completely get shredded.
But I do think that it makes a bit more sense to go for Fredrin opener, just because that now you leave the 2 prior marksmen and only one can go through anyways. It gives you priority for a Beatrix, let's say, if carry goes through. But EVO decides to just skip the carry first phase, at least for the first 2 picks. It's a Farmis, it's a Lapu Lapu. So basically we get to see, you know, a very skeleton of the draft.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of Farmis in terms of in
not
the
the opening,
patch, right? Like as an opening, yeah, understandable. It is flex. There are some teams that actually play it as mage role. There are some teams that play it as a support role, which I honestly think it's not exactly that great, right? Because the emphasis of this hero is not longer on his count altar compared to back in the days.
Right.
Now, with this current patch, it requires a very high skill gap where you need to take advantage of the Shadow Stampede more rather than the count altar in terms of team fights potential. So I feel like it's super risky, but I know Xandri, he's played it before, he's got experience, he can pull it off. Miracle Gaming, pretty straightforward response. They're off to completely shred through the temp armor hit or temp HP coming from the count altar as a reactionary, but it feels like this pretty much locks down Miracle Gaming's draft, where the Dirok is going to be going to the jungle.
But I also feel like this is Miracle Gaming giving us a sign that they are looking for incredibly strong laners, right? Dyrov, very has self-sustenance. Fredrin as well. You have this Edith, which is just absolutely menaced to deal with as a roamer. And EVO Esports going for a very defensive approach, right? We see the farmers, and now you put the Estus in. I guess it's a comp that allows you to peel right back, but now I'm starting to worry, how is the laning going to go? We haven't seen the marksman getting picked up just yet, so there is still options for both Beatrix and carry. But EVO Esports seems to be a bit more reactive to what Miracle Gaming is drafted.
Yeah, I think EVO Esports, they're putting all their eggs in the basket in the Lapu Lapu that just completely shut down the back lines, right? Like, it's great in terms of cutting off squishy heroes and diving back lines, but against Miracle Gaming's composition, it doesn't really matter as of yet. But the only problem I'm worried right now for Miracle Gaming is that how does this Edith fit in the composition for Miracle Gaming? Roaming-wise, it's not exactly the greatest. CC-wise, it's kind of slow as well compared to those potential hard lockdowns like maybe a Kufra, maybe even a Lolita, maybe even Archive to a certain degree, which I feel like it gives you an upper edge in terms of getting the first-hand jump initially, which I honestly think that this will put Miracle Gaming in an awkward spot. EVO Esports play the dragged out game. I feel like it's risky playing for that 5 strategy, rather 4-1 strategy, maybe 5 strategy, whereas Miracle Gaming, they can just go for a 4-1.
I do feel the same as well. I think in this case, Edith is most likely the roamer, right? It just makes a bit more sense. But I still also think that there is a potential to, if Miracle Gaming wants to be a bit more adventurous, you put that Dyrov in the XP lane just to be that lane bully and leave Fedrin in the jungle. It kind of is an option. Brody and Lilia ban now, no Fasa as well. The Martis finally gets eliminated.
Wow.
So Miracle Gaming really just keeping a lot of these boxes ticked for themselves.
Yeah, Yves completely ignored from both sides.
Oh,
which
yes.
is kind of interesting. I think Kadita is a great way for Miracle Gaming to actually pick up just one-shot the SS from the get-go, which I think is a really interesting way. But EVO Esports, they're not picking the carry. They want to deny the Beatrix away from Miracle Gaming in case they want to go for an AoE composition to shut down both the Goddess Blessings as well as the Cloud Altar coming from EVO Esports, which I think is a smart idea, but they're overthinking their draft a little bit too much in this situation, because Miracle Gaming, they've got a very straightforward comp. They have Derov. Once Derov jumps in, there's nothing in EVO Esports' hands that can actually stop him off. And my oh my, they bring in the Melissa and the Xavier to double down and making sure that this Cloud Altar is completely rendered useless. Wow.
I think EVO Esports just responds with the Archive, which I feel probably is one of the few remaining picks that can do something, right? You want to stop Miracle Gaming from having a foothold in these fights, displace them from one another. Just buy some time for this Beatrix to start going off, this Estes to get those buff running. But I do agree with you. I think Miracle Gaming just has a very straightforward game plan, and they have all the bases covered.
Yeah, this is going to be a risky composition coming from Miracle Gaming, as well as EVO Esports. I feel like I like the drafts coming from Miracle Gaming a little bit more. It's a little bit easier to execute. But with the right strategy, I think EVO Esports got this, because as of yet, we don't know who's going to be the winners until the entire match itself is going to be finished. It's all strictly predictions here. And I feel like EVO Esports got this, even though we made the early predictions. But, I did say it's
What's the win
2-1.
condition, though? What are we looking at?
Win condition for EVO Esports, make it to level 8, at least for all the heroes, as that's without losing 5k net worth gold lead.
Without losing 5k net worth. That's a pretty steep bar, but
Yep.
I guess that's kind of the situation that EVO Esports have to deal with now. That's it. Game number 1. Starting off between Miracle Gaming and EVO Esports. Obviously, I think this would be a good tone setter for the evening and then what's to come for our open finals.
Yep, we're going to be starting our game as well. It is going to be Fredrin jungle rather than the Derov. So it's going to be Derov in the XP lane, whereas from the other side, we have Xandri going to be playing the Estes, but we are going to be calling in for a pause as of now, trying to figure out what they need to play the composition bit. But as soon as I say it, we're going to be jumping straight back into game again. As you can see, Zugari is going to be starting off with the purple buff. Nothing super crazy yet. Bottom side, mid side, we do see Estes also going to be playing the middle lane. Going to be babysitting the mid lane rather than the gold lane, which is kind of interesting, especially when you have a hero like Estes, where you want to completely bully out the marksman lanes occasionally with a similar to a Digi.
I guess are we looking at a neutralizer where you have 2 marksmen just being left alone to get their resource, and you try to get this farmist online so they can start moving around the map with the Archive?
Personally, I don't think they should be roaming that much, because considering that even if they've got an Archive jungle, as much as they can roam, they have to play objectively. Like, the whole point of their composition right now is to make sure that the Estes makes it to level 8, who gets like a 2 points into its ult. This is where Estes will reach the stage where he doesn't get one-shotted easily, which is something that I feel like requires a little bit more emphasis coming from Miracle Gaming to have this Zerov to make sure that this Estes does not have the most smoothest of farm. And what better way than an Archive, which you can completely just heavy spin, shove whoever gets the turtle buff, which gives you some sort of protection and economy lead over your opponent to just completely shut them down. So I feel like this is a very interesting choice where they have to make a decision. Do they focus on punishing the Estes, or do they focus on just winning their lanes and drag it out? Because eventually when they reach a later stage game, there's just so much work that this Derov needs to do in just cutting down whatever HP that they're going to be bringing to the table.
So far, we know Derov in that XP lane against the Lapu, it's very straightforward, right? Derov just looks to get as much lead as possible. But thankfully, if you're Lapu, you're not too worried. There are ways to circumvent that. You can farm from range and all of that. But evidently the Derov is just going to need some attention as the game progresses.
Exactly, but as of yet, you see Flash One going to be going for a little bit of harassment as well. Stampede comes in, the Edith also going to be harassed up pretty low. It's not that big of an issue, especially for farmers, right? Even if you die rather early, you still have a relatively low cooldown time. But of course, dying is not exactly the biggest choice here. But EVO Esports, they're going for pressure on the top side. So Satoru going to be completely bullied out, but it's not that big of an issue.
I mean, just easy dash out of the way. No avenues at all, but you do have that Edith, Miracle Gaming himself, just hovering around that gold lane, just in case any gank comes through. Just minor invade from the Archive, at least to buy space for themselves. So it's a kind of a reverse jungle, right? You know, bottom lane, a bit of a 1 versus 1. Hashi not in danger though. Does have his Fredrin nearby.
Yep. And honestly, so interesting enough, first item purchase coming from Biston, coming from EVO Esports is going to be the Fury Hammer instead of Shoes. So he does want to win his lane, dominate his way through, not looking to rotate rather early, especially for first turtle, which is going to be happening as of yet. You can see no signs of movements coming from the gold lane, but bottom side, you do see EVO Esports does pop the heavy spin rather early. Your name is going to be taken out. That's going to be first blood from Miracle Gaming. And EVO Esports, they really want to pin a big flag coming in from Oper, and that's going to be a big damage, but Miracle Gaming, they somehow managed to get out, and EVO Esports cannot continue with this fight.
Yeah, the Appraisal Wave, just big, bad, heavy sword slamming down for the second kill. This turtle most likely secured by that Fredrin for sure. Xavier will do it, taking for the team. The Esther's trying to heal Opera up. He's going to flicker away. The flicker forward. Hashi looks for the kill nonetheless. It's a 1-for-1 trade. But Miracle Gaming getting so much advantage.
Oh, that's the desperation coming from Miracle Gaming here. They got a little bit too much and feisty here. Great flicker coming from Hashi to get him that kill. But EVO Esports, you can see a little bit of signs here from Xandri of how he positioned himself and how annoying these Estes can get. I was expecting them to lose a little bit more out of this, but like I said as well, once this Estes hits those level 8, level 9 timings, this is where things get completely blindsided because Miracle Gaming, they're struggling to find opportunities to actually pick off players.
With all that being said, they did have a good, first fight at the turtle, right? Just almost a 1k goal lead. Hashi again against Oppa. No more ultimates for this Lapu. He's going to be forced to just dash away. This is just a direct experience.
Yeah, definitely a direct experience indeed. But as of yet, you can see Flash One going to be going for the harassments. Hashi not going to be connected with the Stampede. They do not have the Chieftain's Rage for Upper. So I don't think we are going to be seeing a little bit more engagements. EVO Esports, they have to take a little bit of backseat. But Miracle Gaming, they're putting up a little bit more pressure now. And this is exactly what they need to do. A straightforward composition. They need to try and punish the Estes as much as they can. As of yet, Zanri's only level 4. So this is going to be a very important situation for Miracle Gaming to is. And Zanri now going to be in a little bit awkward spot. They're setting up for an ambush up top, but all these rotations has been scouted out coming from EVO Esports, so I don't think they should be fighting at all. But bottom side, Hashi actually wins the fight with a pixel shot, with the Abyssal Strike, almost being dodged by Opera. Feels bad for him.
Yeah, just the execution damage. Once you're below 40% health, that's goodbye. There's nothing that you can do. And this is bad news, right? Hashi has 3 kills right now. Sure, he died once, but now he's going to get almost a full shield off that bottom turret. He's having such an incredible time, and even lane itself, he's up almost 1.3k goal advantage.
Yeah, and this
Dream scenario.
This is going to be really, really hard for EVO Esports. But like you said as well, Miracle Gaming, they have their driver's seat in their favor as well. Second turtle going to be coming in as well. This is where they should be contesting. Your name is still in position. He's rather early as well. And of course, Miracle Gaming, they just need to bait out the heavy spin rather early. They've got the Xavier that does this fantastic job. Goes for harassments, but looks like they're not ready for this fight. A big stamp comes in, but the Dawning Light doesn't seem to connect the majority of players. But finally, they pop the Goddess coming in. They want to force the fight. And Miracle Gaming, they don't really have the tools to actually fight this. But here comes the retry battle. It is going to be Miracle Gaming that takes it. Your name goes for the heavy spin, but they all clumped in by the Xavier stun to force him out of a situation. Count Author has been expended, but they don't seem to have the damage to shut them out. The heals coming in coming in, but they eventually get a solo kill on the bottom side. But Miracle Gaming, they lose members here. Tried to go in for the choke spot, but EVO Esports, they somehow managed to trade 2 for 1.
Satoru wants to get away.
Oh, one more. Hey,
doesn't
he got
manage to do so. Just right on the edge, clip. I believe that he execute, of all things. But nonetheless, it's still a minor win for Miracle Gaming, and things seems to be snowballing out of control. Mid tier 1 going down. Dyro gets another solo kill down bot. He's now 4-1. EVO Esports, they do get the top tier 1, but in the grand scheme of things, again, Miracle Gaming in the lead.
Miracle Gaming, they understand, like you can see how much struggle they're actually fighting against EVO Esports, right? If they take a team fight in potential, Miracle Gaming just doesn't have the damage, and the damage comes in from Derov, and it's smart that they finally take the decision to go for a 4-1, and that's actually helped Miracle Gaming on the bottom side to get a little bit more map pressure on the map, and this is where EVO Esports, you will see a huge disparity in economy just because of playing this 5-man strategy, or in this case, the Ube strategy, which we've known from Blacklist before, and Miracle Gaming, they're just taking advantage of it, which is hopefully going to be enough for them to have a lead to actually push into the throne.
And I just want to say that that fight was the result of all ultimates used by EVO. Now they will try to, this gang Hashi wants to look for at least a trade for himself, and he's actually doing a pretty good job. Biston keeping everyone alive, but he himself might go down, getting slam flicker used as well. Dawning Light piercing through all three of them. Zukarian shows up, the flicker forward. Biston is the target, Biston falls. So Satoru now also arrives at the scene. Zari will have to use his own flicker.
Yeah, you can see the power of the SS starting to shine some light into this, how tanky EVO's Esports is. But at the same time, Miracle Gaming, to my surprise, Hashi is just so tanky. He was able to sustain all those damage being dealt from EVO's Esports just because of the fact that he's got 4 stacks into the Festival of Blood, which is something that he needs to build up a little bit more into the later stage of the game. But EVO's Esports, they are going to try and make an engagement with this heavy spin, but Miracle Gaming, they just back out completely. Uncontested. Nothing much they can do. No heavy spin. Easy turtle for Miracle Gaming. Dawning Light comes in as well to try and harass EVO, but what's it going to be?
Zanri, no ultimate as well. Just came back up cooldown just in time. It's going to be a retry fight again. Beatrix trying to provide some damage, but the Fredrin once more gets the turtle. Oppa executes the Xavier in the back line, but it might not matter too much though. The Melissa going off. So Satoru and Zukarian, they're all doing damage. Flash 1 tries to dash away, but So Satoru is on the case. A double for this Melissa. Oppa sent up into the air, and it's just a flurry of arrows in his back. He will get out, but So Satoru wants to deny that opportunity. The shield from Oppa, not enough. So Satoru still going. 3 in a row. Protected by Miracle Gaming himself. Miracle Gaming just doing such a good job.
Oh my.
And the Edith gets away.
Oh my goodness, the EDF actually survives it all despite the onslaught coming in. Great catch coming in from Zokarian there. He's got like a 2-man, 3-man taunt, taking advantage of the Ube strategy and just completely punishing him up. EVO's Esports was just left stranded in a situation where they just can't really move out of this chain CC that Miracle Gaming is bringing to the table. And to my surprise, EVO's Esports, they're flopping a little bit too much, and economy-wise, it's starting to lead, favoring towards Miracle Gaming even more right now. And as of yet, the first Lord is going to be the prime objectives here for Miracle Gaming. If they secure it, EVO's Esports might have one of the most difficult times to actually make a comeback right now.
That was something that we actually didn't get to touch on, right? We didn't really thought about it, but you want to stick together as Ube. No, guess what? Big AoEs, big knockouts, big taunt. Miracle Gaming kind of has it figured out. But right now we're looking at Zanri hitting level 9. No 5k goal advantage for Miracle Gaming, so we have averted that disaster. But all things being said, Miracle Gaming are still in a very, very decent position in terms of getting a lead. 3 turtles so far, all the tier 1s taken out, and they are just applying this global pressure.
Yeah, interesting enough, they are going to be trying to force a fight. Opera going for a little bit of harassment here. They popped the ultimate from Shifter's range, but they are trying to kind of kite their way through. Your name goes for a flag, but instead, this Akai going to get CC'd as well. The Beatrix comes in with ALVA. He's going to try to survive here. 10 HP keeps him alive, but a big Dawning Light from Miracle Gaming will completely shut them down. Courtesy of the stuns being set up from Fredrin and EVO Esports, they just cannot do anything about this. Miracle Gaming will take advantage here and just completely snowball their way through.
I mean, Zugaren has a first core item, Garden's Helmet. This guy is an absolute truck with that Appraisal's Wraith. And I mean, we saw, right, just the constant juggle of turret aggro under the tier 2, just giving them a win. Now another engagement.
Oh my goodness, EVO, they just could not survive the Derov as well. And I've talked about how important the Derov brings to the table, and Miracle Gaming just straight up demonstrating that, hey, this is how you play around your composition. They have clear objective strategies, they have clear objectives of what they needed to do, and Prime Hashi, 5, 2, and 3. Now, even with the Lord, EVO's Esports is in a very, very difficult spot now with the Dawning Light again. Appa just completely changed CC after CCs. EVO Esports just could not do anything in all this team side. Shout out to Shiro with those insane circlings.
I mean, Appa could not play the game, right? He was solo killed twice, and all these team fights, it's either 1-for-1 trade or none at all, and he just died the 5th time in this game. Miracle Gaming, we talk about them wanting strong laners. They've got all the objectives ticked for themselves. I mean, Hashi is out of control at this point. When your tank walks up and dies in 2 seconds, you have a problem.
Yeah, I'm so worried as well. I was a little bit surprised by Xandri's decision to actually pick up the Oracle as a first item pickup rather than just going for like potential dominance eyes or maybe even a Dreadnought armor already. He just got it. I don't think it's going to be that much of a big difference considering that how things are going on as well. Look at Sugarian.
Oh
He's got big boy damage, but they missed the Abyssal Strike, so this is going to be a little bit of saving grace for EVO Esports, but they only have a 30-second small window to try and capitalize on this, and Miracle Gaming, they know they've got it in the bag. All they gotta do is just play for time. Big Dawning Light comes again. EVO Esports, they need to buy time. This Lord is gonna be chunking on the turrets, and Miracle, they can potentially dive on the Crystal EVO. They need to call the rest of the teams trying to defend against this here. Bistan is here, but objectives is gonna be Miracle Gaming's decision. They just don't want to force a fight right now. They're just waiting on cooldowns, and this is where Miracle Gaming says, you know what? I've got everything in the bag. One mistake is all I need from EVO Esports to close out this game.
This is the chokehold that Miracle Gaming wants EVO Esports to be in. And I mean,
They back out.
playing is safe, right? You have all 3 lanes for yourself. I feel like if you want to wait for the next Lord, you wait for the next Lord. It's 15-6, almost a 10k goal advantage. Bistan was not able to be involved in any of these fights, and you would thought that Beatrix with that rocket launcher will be a great option to clear all these Lord push, but they are so far behind. I mean, Your Name can't even stand in front at this point.
Yeah, a big Divine Glaive purchase coming from Shiro as well. There's going to be a lot of penetration as well as damage coming from the Xavier. We've reached a stage where the Xavier is so relevant in the stage where EVO Esports, they need to find a way to cut the backlines. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Sosataru or is it going to be Shiro? They need Opper to dive the backlines, but it's so difficult to do so, especially with such a strong, annoying Frederick just right in your face, making sure that Opper just doesn't get to the backlines. And it's tough, considering that how EVO is reaching a stage where I need to drag this game even longer now, just for the sake of the fact that they need Xandri up with a little bit more items and a little bit more sustainabilities in order to keep everybody alive.
And Zukaran isn't even worried about magic damage, right? He has Dominus Eyes. Oh, I mean, he's Athena, excuse me. Athena's for that magic damage protection, and that's pretty much it. Everything else now is just physical resistance. Oppa and Bistan, they cannot find a way in. You mentioned during the draft that this Lapu Lapu is supposed to be the one that cuts in the backline, assassinates Shiro. But he can't do that. The moment he shows up, he dies.
Yeah, it's so very difficult as well, especially like you said as well, they don't really have the biggest amount of magical damage. However, they do get a very nice pickup, and that is huge. The Dirov take out the equation, but they still have Xandri keeping him alive. As you can see, the Bistan will be the primary focus coming in from the back lines as they pick him out. Your Name is going to try and draw aggro away. They will trade for 1-for-1, but as of yet, they need to buy time. It seems like Miracle Gaming, they are going to try and give chase and take the bait on this Akai, and Your Name has so much to run for as well. He needs to run for his life, but he will eventually run out of path and eventually get picked off. Well, EVO Esports will go for a lane check off the side lanes.
Absolutely brutal assassination. I mean, you have an Edith that just flickered for your marksman. Bistan is 1-4. This Lord pretty much in the back for Miracle Gaming. We're looking at a final push to end game 1. It's 14 minutes in. Definitely felt like it was a bit longer, considering the draft for EVO Esports. But on this deficit, there's still a way back. Like, what are we looking at?
Yeah, this is, I don't think they can actually come back from this. It's over. It's pretty much over. There's no way. Because considering that how Bistan is pretty much the core main damage dealer, and he's only got a DHS, Maleficaro as well as a Blade of Despair, he needs at least 1 to 2 more items. The contrary, in this case, he's actually opting to go for a Winds of Nature as well as a Hunter Strike, which I don't think is going to be that much of help. Because eventually it comes down to whether or not Opper and Bistan is able to chunk out enough damage to just one-shot people from the backlines of Miracle Gaming, which at this stage, very difficult to do.
I guess your front line also needs to stay alive.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Your Name cannot do anything. He's been trying to really look for those good heavy spins to, separate the battle lines, but he just couldn't find the angle. Xandri, first target, taunt backwards. Meanwhile, they've just flip-flash run in, didn't even get to use his own ultimate. Your Name goes down. Game 1 pretty much done and dusted. Miracle Gaming just looking for a bit more final touches. Oppa is trying, but best he may, he can't do it. Miracle Gaming takes game 1.
Yep, Bistan pretty much tried his best to try and clear off the minions, etc., but there's only so much he can do. Miracle Gaming